I received quite a few comments on my previous video about recognizing toxic people, and some of the viewers were wondering why correction is a red flag. There is a difference between someone telling you that you mispronounced a word and someone telling you that you're reacting or behaving wrong. The first is factual correction. The second is an attempt to rewrite your cognitive code. Let's talk about normal people who see it as their job to normalize others. When someone says, "You need to be more chill about this," or "Why are you taking it so seriously?" or "You're overreacting," they're not helping you fix an error. They're disqualifying your perception of reality. The distinction is critical. If I say this person is using me and someone responds, "Oh, come on, don't be dramatic, just don't think about it," that's an instruction to ignore the data I'm receiving. That's a command to turn off my threat detector. The mechanism works through category substitution. Your reaction is the output of information processing. If the reaction is sharp, the signal is strong, but they tell you the problem isn't the signal, it's your sensitivity. As if a smoke detector is paranoid for responding to fire. This is how the system protects itself. If you see manipulation, exploitation, absurdity, and react proportionally to that signal, the system can't convince you the manipulation doesn't exist, but it can convince you that your reaction is excessive. And then you'll dim the detector yourself. Someone says, "I feel like I'm being lied to." Response: "You're too suspicious. You need to trust people more." Or my favorite, "You have trust issues." Not "let's check the facts," but turn off the detector. This is a direct attack on your ability to process information. It works by exploiting baseline uncertainty. We're not confident in our reactions by default. We've been taught that the correct reaction is the one that doesn't create problems for others. So when someone says, "You're reacting wrong," we try to fix ourselves instead of asking, "Wrong by what standard? Whose standard is that?" If someone screams at you and you respond with anger, that's not an incorrect reaction. That's proportional processing of aggression. But they'll tell you to stay calm. And if you accept that correction, you've disabled a defense mechanism and left yourself vulnerable to the same behavior in the future. Look at the function. When someone corrects you, who benefits? If someone says, "Don't take it personally," when you point out their lie, that's not concern for your emotional state. That's an instruction not to process data about their unreliability. Some people just fucking love teaching other adults how to behave. They shush you for swearing, tell women to be more ladylike, publicly critique your way of speaking or dressing, all that bullshit. This isn't care or knowledge transfer. This is hierarchy assertion. The message is simple. I have the right to determine what's correct, and you're obligated to comply. The content of the correction is secondary. What matters is that you accepted their right to correct you. Take swearing. When someone shushes you for bad words, they're not protecting children from trauma or preventing linguistic degradation. They're establishing that their comfort standard matters more than your freedom of expression, and that you must modify your behavior to accommodate them. Publicness is important. These people rarely make remarks privately. They need an audience. because the goal isn't to change your behavior, it's to demonstrate power. When someone tells a woman in front of everyone to sit properly or you're laughing too loud, they're showing the room that they have the right to regulate her. And if she complies, everyone sees the hierarchy works. The criterion for proper behavior is always deliberately vague. What does ladylike mean? What's appropriate? There is no definition. This is a feature, not a bug, because an undefined standard can't be met. You can only endlessly try to please. And that's the goal. Keep you in a position where you're always potentially wrong and must be corrected. Women get this massively. Don't curse, it's not pretty. Smile. Don't speak too harshly. Dress more modestly. Be softer. An endless stream of instructions on how to modify yourself for someone else's comfort. And if you resist, you're difficult, aggressive, unfeminine. The standard shifts, but it's always aimed at limiting your autonomy. This works by exploiting the conditioning not to create conflict. When someone publicly corrects you, the easiest way to resolve the situation is to comply. Apologize, adjust your skirt, shut up. Conflict resolved, everyone's happy. Except you, who just confirmed that another person has the right to control your body and behavior. And if you say, not your business, you've created conflict. Now you're responsible for the tension. They were just helping you, and you reacted rudely. Classic inversion. The aggressor becomes the victim of your inappropriate reaction. Some people immediately ask, so what? Does that mean everyone can just behave however they want and no one has the right to say anything? No, this isn't about the absence of consequences or disagreement. It's about the difference between setting your own boundaries or choosing to disengage and assuming you have the authority to correct another adult's behavior. Disapproval, distance, or refusal are always legitimate. Unsolicited correction is not. People who do this constantly aren't necessarily conscious dominators. Many genuinely believe they're helping because they were raised by the same system and internalized the idea that correction equals submission to standards set by others. They're transmitting the program without analyzing its function. Hello, Mr. Milgram. But the function is singular, maintaining control through normalized intrusion. If you accept that a stranger can remark on your clothing, speech pattern, posture, you accept that your body and behavior are public territory that others have the right to regulate. And that's a direct path to any expression of autonomy being perceived as violation. Watch what happens when you refuse to comply. I'll swear if that's how I prefer to express myself. The response will be about respect, upbringing, how you should behave in society, but never about why this person decided they have the right to raise you. Because that's assumed by default. The hierarchy is invisible until you challenge it. When someone tells you how to behave, the only valid question is, on what basis? Are you my parent? My boss? Did I hire you as an etiquette consultant? No? Then this is just an attempt at domination through social discomfort. And your job isn't to justify your improper behavior. Your job is not to accept their right to evaluate you. Factual correction improves accuracy. You misunderstood, I meant something else. That helps you get the right information. But you're too sensitive improves nothing. It's just a command to lower detector sensitivity, which makes you more vulnerable. Autonomy begins with refusing unsolicited correction of your behavior because no one has legitimate authority over you in the first place. This isn't rudeness, this is boundary defense. Because people who think it's normal to raise other adults are the same people who later wonder why you react so sharply when they violate your boundaries more severely.